Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox. This is going to be part 2 of a 2-part series on the rich and the poor and things they need to consider when going through chaos. You know, Tiawaki, W-R-O-L, end times. Bum, bum, bum. It's probably going to irritate some of y'all. Now, as I stated in the last video in this series, poor and rich, those are relative terms, but for the purpose of this series, rich people are those who have tens of thousands to more, to millions of dollars of disposable or liquid income. They can spend lots of money. And if you watch that video, basically the bottom line on that was that the rich preppers, if you will, are in many cases thinking they can go it alone, and they're going to have some plans to have people come help them, move in with them, help secure them, do the work, yada, yada, yada. Comments were interesting from some of you all. And maybe that attitude is something I'm about to address with what I call the poor preppers. And for the purposes of this series, poor preppers are those who have no disposable income. Meaning, you don't have money to go buy an AR-15 or an AK. You don't have money to go put together a bug-out bag. Although, you think you don't. I have another video where I show you how to put a bug-out bag together for about $5, maybe 10. But you don't have any money to buy food stores or get a place ready. You're just scraping by to survive today. You have no disposable income to prepare. And then, bam, the event happens. World without rule of law ensues. People be dying and stuff, and you got nothing. Now, you could also be a person like me, right? You know, like I said in the first video, what you call rich and poor really is relative, and it depends on where you're standing. I'm standing right here. But like me, I don't consider myself rich or poor by American standards. But what if you lose it all, right? What if you end up on a business trip and you find yourself in the middle of wherever with nothing, right? Well, then you got nothing. And so you are, in that case, poor. And so my theory being that groups will form, whether they are forming now and then go into that event, or just because of what's going on, people will band together. And there will be the rich, the wealthy, which there has always been. And they will have setups, whether that's the really cool prepper retreat or the castle, right? You know, whatever, right? And then there will be the poor people. And the rich people who live will figure out that they're going to need help, and they're going to be looking for people to come help them. And those people that come help them will then benefit from the security of the group, the supplies that were put in ahead of time, yada, yada, yada. Now, remember, I'm talking to those of you, or those of them, because they might not even watch YouTube, who have nothing. And so what are they going to have to do to survive? The problem with Americans, and the problem with many of you all, whose comments I read in the last video, good move, Pastor Joe, ticking people off right from the get-go, is your attitude. Your attitude is horrible. And to make it in end times, you are going to have to change your attitude, or you're going to die. Bottom line, you know, people think today, because of civilization, there's this civilization that has occurred over the last about 200 years throughout the world, and it's fake. There's a fake veneer of civilization where people do not have to pay any consequences for their actions or lack of action. Consequences have gone away. You know, you could stand up in front of somebody today in many parts, most parts of the United States, and insult his wife, you know, blah, 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 and you won't die. You might not even get hit. Now, in other places, you'll get shot. But in most places in the United States, nothing bad will happen because there's no consequences to that. People think, you're not the boss of me. You're not the boss of me. You can't tell me what to do. Okay, because you have other options right now. I'm talking about a situation where you either join this group over here that's headed up by this rich person, or you're out there on your own getting picked off and you die, right? You could join the group over here at the castle with the rich guy, or you can join the group over here with the outlaws and the outlaw leader, who's a relatively rich guy at this point. Either way, you're joining a group, and for both groups, your actions are gonna have to change. And here's what you're gonna have to get used to. 2 words: patriarchal rule. Y'all screaming yet? Throwing things across the room? See, patriarchal rule, that's male-centric, right, is the way things have always been in the world. Africa, Asia, Europe, the Americans, the Americas. Patriarchal rule. Oh, sure, you can find a couple exceptions, Boudica, right? But those are just exceptions that prove the rule. The way of things is men rule. The way of things is strong men rule. Strong men still rule today. It's just how we measure strength is different. And a lot of people who think they're free aren't, but that's another probably series for another time. But here's the reality: you're either in charge or you're a follower. And Americans, I can say this word, it's in the Bible, are piss poor followers. To be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. And if you want to join a group under the conditions where you basically have nothing and you want to become part of this group, you are going to have to humble yourself and submit. There's another a word we don't like in America. You are going to have to submit to patriarchal rule. The way of mankind is tribal. I did a video on that a while ago, and I'm thinking about maybe even writing a book on it. Probably shooting a couple short videos on that. But tribal societies exist again on all the continents, have always existed, and in fact still exist today. The Army is a tribal society. The Crips are a tribal society. Hell's Angels is a tribal society. The United States Marine Corps is a tribal society. Tribal societies have a leader, a tribal leader, a chieftain. Sometimes they also have a war leader, and most of them have a religious leader. The witch doctor, the priest advisor, the whatever, spiritual advisor. They usually have those two also. And then there's a council of elders, and those elders, I was just talking to a brother yesterday, they're not appointed by the warlord or by the chieftain, the tribal leader. They're not appointed by him. They represent factions that come up underneath the leadership of the chieftain. But it's tribal. And when the tribe decides they're going to do something, and how does that happen? By the elders making a decision and the chieftain weighing in and going, yep, we're going with this one. And usually he has to play politics, because if he keeps alienating this elder over here who represents X amount of people under him, he's going to walk. And when that elder walks with his people, he's going to the other tribe. Could upset the balance of power. See, I'm getting into tribal. You, if you're poor and you have nothing, whether you have nothing today or you have nothing then, are going to have to humble yourself, and you're going to have to show that you are, number one, loyal to the chieftain. He has to believe that you are loyal. You are going to have to demonstrate loyalty. Smart chieftains test that, by the way. You're going to have to be loyal. You're going to hate this word, subservient. I'll never be subservient to anyone. You're going to have to come up underneath the leadership of the leadership. Again, all those tribal societies that I mentioned today, they all do. And it all works. It doesn't mean you don't have dignity as a human. It doesn't mean you don't have the ability to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm somebody. You just have to realize your place in life. And your place in life at that time when you got nothing and they got everything and you want to be part of that, subservient, loyal, and you have to be a hard worker. You have to provide value. Why should I bring you in? Why should he bring me in? I don't have to be in charge. Why should this guy bring me in to the tribe? There's 50 guys like me that want to be in this tribe. Why does he want to pick you? Why does he want to pick me? You have to have some kind of value. Your value could be a strong back. But check it out. If your value is a strong back, you know what you're doing? Moving rocks in the hot sun, setting up palisades, whatever. That's your lot in life. And for that, you'll probably get fed and you'll be protected. You'll be protected because you'll be expected to participate in the protection of the tribe. You may think that you have some really valuable skill. Remember when I talked about humility, humbleness? They may not value your skill. You may think you're all that because you're a ham radio operator and you've got all this stuff. They may already have 5 of those. So it's like, all right, next, what can you do, right? Another good video of mine you should watch. Just look on my channel, search in the channel search box. What do you bring to the table, right? You're going to have to start thinking about that. There were a lot of comments on there. Those rich people, they won't have anything. 3 guys with guns will come take it from them. And I think a lot of you were fantasizing that that was you, taking all this stuff from that rich guy. That rich guy's probably thought about people like that. Probably has a plan for that. You think? There is a spirit in America of rebellion, right? We were born in rebellion. It makes us free. We're free men and true. Yep. We work better in groups, and groups work better when they have a hierarchy and a leadership. Despite what I say hippies, I realize that's an outdated term, but what social justice warriors, whatever. It's a very liberal mindset to let's all just sit around and sing Kumbaya and probably smoke dope and come to a consensus leadership. Yeah, that's nice when times allow it. Ask a Marine squad leader how consensus leadership works when he's attacking a bunker with his squad. There's no consensus leadership. There's leadership, right? Follow me. You go over there. When the leader tells you to go over there, there's no discussion. There's no, well, I think it would be better if I went up this way. It doesn't work that way. And so if you are poor, or if you find yourself poor, and it's time to get into a group, humble yourself, prove value, be loyal, work hard. That's what you're going to have to do. Go back and watch the video on tribes too, because it's not about you, it's about the tribe. No one cares what you think. They care what the tribe thinks. Hive mind. You have a little bit of influence on that. Keyword, little. All right. I'm interested to see what y'all do with this. I know you're going to hate it. I can tell you're going to hate it by the comments you did on the other one about how you think you're just going to take stuff from the people who have. How's that worked for you so far? All those 1% on Wall Street things. Oh, we're going to tear it down. I'm going to kill the rich people. I don't like rich people. That sounds like bitterness of a loser talking to me. It's still America. If you want to be rich, be rich. Go be rich. Instead of saying, I'm going to take it from him. That's the kind of attitude that when you carry that forward and the adjusting comes and the leveling comes, which is going to come harshly and quickly and permanently to many people, there's going to be a whole lot of people going, no! All right, think about that and try to position yourself not to be one of the needy ones. Get a group of friends. Do it now. I'll see you out there.